Hello everyone, this is Locko S, and welcome back to my livery showcase video. This time we're going to be covering AI units for DCS World, and some of the Ace Combat skins that have been applied to some of the AI units. We're going to be mostly focusing on Red 4 AI units today, and then this is going to kind of kick off the next couple of videos where we're going to be going over the two flanker variants we have in game, and covering skins for those. So trying to do a little bit, trying to show Red 4 side a bit more love in my livery videos. So, starting off here, we have a MiG-31 Foxhound skin for Ustio. This is the Ace Combat 6th Auxiliary Fighter Squadron. I don't have the name written down, but this is done by the Mr. Sir 46. So this is a pretty cool skin for Ustio. It's really cool that Ustio also has some MiG skins in game. It's a really nice coloration too, because I usually use the Caucasus map for Ustio, and this is like a nice woodland / mountain camo. So this is a pretty cool mix of colorations for camouflage for a MiG-31. High vis Ustio markings. Again, air base code for Valais Air Base back there, which makes sense. 6th Air Division emblem on the tip of the tail. See if I can't really zoom any further on the MiG-31 model. Also, you have the names of the pilots there on the canopy, as well as their kill marks, and he also have this really cool Scarecrow Reaper squadron emblem on the air intake on either side, which is pretty cool. So, starting off strong here with Ustio and their Soul MiG-31 skin. Next up, we move to the other side of the of Ace Combat Zero, Belka. And if you know this skin, then yes, you've definitely played Ace Combat Zero. This is basically here Warcrime Alley with the Schwartz team from Ace Combat Zero. This is the 6th Tactical Fighter Squadron Schwartz team, also done by Mr. Sir 46. And this is, again, another one of the Ace squadrons that appeared in Ace Combat Zero. So we have Cybler now, with Cybler, we have Schwartz, Schnee, Grun was actually recently added. I'll have to do a video on that. So yeah, we're getting a whole bunch of the Ace Combat Zero main antagonist squadrons, and with the MiG-31 here, we have Schwartz Squadron. And it's faithfully recreated here with a pretty much almost this really dark charcoal gray skin with all the red accent markings, which is really cool. Belkan flag, Schwartz Squadron emblem, Air Division markings right there as well. You have the Belkan emblems all around there on the wings and on the side of the intakes as well. Well, you have the Belkan flag on the tail. Also, you have a really cool detail here where the leading edge of the rudder of the tail is darker gray than the rest, which is pretty cool. Again, you have that really cool red marking all around the aircraft, especially around the canopy. And every single one of Schwartz Squadron has their own dynamic tail number. So this is 61, and you go through here, and you have 62, 63, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And in fact, we'll probably make this our thumbnail. So you have Schwartz team is all here and represented with every aircraft getting their own unique board number for their skin, which is really cool. So it'd be interesting in DCS, by the way, to go up against the entirety of Schwartz team. MiG-31s, by the way, in DCS can be fairly lethal. They're not usually commonly encountered, but when you do go up against them in DCS World, if you don't treat them with respect, they will completely own you. So I'll have to set up some missions against Schwartz team. That'll be fun. Also for Belka, the Mr. Sir 46 comes in once again with a Belkan Air Force skin. It's similar to the Ustio skin in their color and the camouflage pattern, but all the Air Force markings are now Belkan markers on the tail, different airport code, which is pretty cool. You also have a Schwartz. You also have the squadron emblem there on the side of the air intake. And oh, by the way, this is the 11th Tactical Fighter Squadron for Belka. Should mention that. It's a really cool design. I like this how even though it's a similar camo pattern, it's a really cool one because you have it's like more foresty, like lighter green and darker green, which is a really cool color combination on a MiG-31. Going over to across the pond, we have one more skin by Mr. Sir 46, and this one is of the Yuktobanian Air Force, and I don't normally cover Yuktobanian skins. Again, Yuktobani and Estevakia are skins that I want to cover in their whole video series, just because I've been kind of ignoring them for a while. Again, I try to keep these videos relatively compact. Yes, and I know like a around 20-minute video for me is compact, so trying to keep these videos relatively compact. But here we have a Yuktobanian skin, and it's really and I'll admit actually of all of the non-ace skins for the MiG-31, this is one of my favorites. You can have the Russian theme of your light blue, medium blue, and dark blue in the stripe pattern. You have your red markings on the nose. You have the Yuktobanian flag there up on the rudder, which is a little bit hard to see just because of the angle of the sun. We are, by the way, here on the South Atlantic map, so your angles on your sun are always gonna be weird just because of the nature of the being on the tail end of the world. But anyways, you have the Yuktobanian rondels there on the wingtips and on the tail, which is pretty cool. And YAF for Yuktobani Air Force, pretty cool. And you have the squadron emblem there. It's a little bit tiny, but you can notice it if you get up close. And if you're that close to a MiG-31, yeah, either you're in trouble or you're hopefully going to be able to get in for a gun skill. So it's a really cool to flesh out the Yuktobanian Air Force in DCS world and give you some AI aircraft to either assist you or to work against you. The Yuktobanian Air Force is also now represented with another skin today. Moving on now from the MiG-31 to the Sukhoi family, we have a Yuktobanian Air Force Su-24M Fencer by Billy the Kid, and this is a fairly standard, quote-unquote, modern Russian-style skin for the Su-24, and it's really nice and sharp with this dark gray up on the top. I did this cool though because you also have these bright red markings here on the tail. Adds a little bit more color to the skin, but it also makes it look like a very serious, quote-unquote, realistic skin. Yuktobanian Air Force emblem, I believe, up there on the top of the tail, along with the Yuktobanian emblems and rondels on the tail, as well as on the wings, which is pretty cool. Also, you have sort of that light blue, that very faint light blue coloration on the bottom of the aircraft and on the sides, with Yuktobanian rondels on either side of the cockpit. So, really, it's a very much needed skin for Yuktobania, because unfortunately, we're not very likely to get a lot of Red 4 aircraft for a while, and the ones that we are going to be getting are older. So, a lot of these aircraft that Yuktobania might have, like the MiG-19 and 15 and 17 coming up, they were never in any Ace Combat games. So to see them here, see more modern airframes for Russia represented for Yuktobania is pretty cool. Switching up on a completely different note, we now end up our video here with ISAF. So Billy the Kid did the Su-24 Fencer for Yuktobania. AWACS Bandog did these next couple of skins. Starting off here with the ISAF 93rd Tactical Fighter Squadron here. And I do believe these are the Checkmates. And these are a pair of skins. You have the Ace 1 marking here, and you have the standard issue marking one on the other side. So, stenciled ISAF markings, which is pretty cool, and also you have all of your stenciled kill marks and bombing run marks there, which is pretty cool. I always like it when they add kill marks to the bombers, and you can see this one's been on quite a few runs. Now, your standard ISAF markings are on the tail, which is really cool. I want to assume that, yes, those are dynamic port numbers, which is really good. Usually the dynamic port numbers on the static aircraft don't change too much, so that's I don't have to worry too much about those breaking. We have a little bit of an ISAF marking rondel on the wingtip, which is pretty cool. Also, you have your own unique airport code there on the tail, which is really cool. And you also have on this side, you have 2 air-to-air kills. The pilot has his own name there on the cockpit, and his bombardier on the other side as well. And what's also really cool is you have Brabante Express. So I like the name of this bomber. It's very fitting for the Su-24 Fencer. And you also have the checkmate emblem right below the cockpit on either side, which is pretty cool. And all of the ISAF markings and the squadron checkmate marking carries over to the standard version here. We'll zoom out real here. We're here to show it. We can get really nice and close with this just because of the camera angle. We have on the standard version just the squadron emblem right there. So if you're plain version, and then you have your fancy version right there. And moving on, also by AWACS Bandog, we have the ISAF number 15 Squadron Buccaneers, and this is a skin for the H-6J. So if you're wondering what this bomber is, this is a bomber that was added by the Chinese asset pack, and it's a Chinese bomber. So very unique, very different. I like the fact that they added this, that they did this one for ISAF, just because it gives ISAF a unique bomber aircraft. And this skin is also really cool. It reminds me very much of a UK skin. So like which makes sense because the Buccaneers, the Blackburn Buccaneer was a British bomber, so British skin for this aircraft. It's also really cool to see different aircraft done in the UK skin style, because you don't normally see the this dark gray and then almost kind of a bright olive drab for the aircraft. That's very much a UK skin, and it translates very well to this this Buccaneer bomber here. Oh, the A6J Buccaneer Squadron bomber. You also have dynamic port number on the fuselage after the cabin, which is pretty cool. Bright, shiny ISAF markings on the side of the aircraft, as well as, I believe, some other markings there underneath the cockpit, which is pretty cool. And then at the back, you have ISAF and then North Point Air Force with North Point Air Force markings up there, which is pretty cool. And you have the big blue ISAF triangle there on the wing. Trying to get a view of that while not slamming my aircraft into the hangar. And there you go. Those are all the AI aircraft that I wanted to showcase today. Figured I'd showcase more of the Russian and Red Force side of the world of AI skins for aircraft for DCS. Next week we'll be covering Su-33 Flanker C. I want to make sure I got the Flanker variant right. It's the 33 is the Flanker C or Flanker D. And then the following week we're doing the standard Su-27. So until then, this is LockOS, signing out.